So, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Wherever you are joining us, whether you're watching us right now live or you're going to be joining us later on once this gets recorded and saved onto our YouTube channel. My name is Mariana Fregoso, and I'm delighted to open again this medical session series with today's webinar, which is going to be on conservation challenges at Odisha Arribadas, the human impact and collaborative solutions that Dr. Bivash is facing as well. So before we begin, I'd like just to briefly introduce the Sea Turtle Rescue Alliance. We call it STRA for short. So STRA is a global initiative focused on building capacity for sea turtle conservation through training, education, and research support. So our work empowers local organizations, researchers, and communities with the knowledge and the tools needed to monitor, protect, and conserve these sea turtle populations around the globe. So by providing structured training programs, our educational resources, and ex and in situ guidance, STRA helps ensure that conservation efforts are going to be effective, scientifically informed, hopefully, and sustainable. And we are proud to host today's session, which brings together expertise to address the pressing challenges faced by olive ridley sea turtles in Odisha's renowned mass nesting beaches. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Bivash Pandav. I will just give him a little introduction about himself so everyone is aware. And Dr. Privash started actually his career, well, he is a wildlife biologist. He started in 1993 with a 6-month survey of sea turtle nesting beaches in Odisha in India. So this survey resulted in the discovery of a new sea turtle mass nesting beach near the mouth of the river Rushikulia along the southern Odisha coast. And this then led to his doctoral research on marine turtles in Odisha in the same region. In 1999, he joined the Wildlife Institute of India as a faculty member. And between 2007 and 2011, he coordinated the WWF International Tiger Program in 11 tiger range countries, moving on from marine to terrestrial species. From January 2021 till March 2023, he served as the director of the Bombay National History Society in Mumbai. And currently he works as a senior professor with the Wildlife Institute of India and has the Department of Protected Area Network and Wildlife Management. At the Wildlife Institute of India, he's involved in training in-service forest officers in wildlife management, teaching postgraduate students in wildlife science, and carrying out his own research in various wildlife species across the country. So today we bring him back to his origins to discuss sea turtles and mass nesting events. And please let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to pop them in the chat throughout, or at the end, Dr. Bivash might have some time to also answer them directly. Thank you so much. And I'll give the floor. If you want to share your own screen, I'll mute myself.
Is that fine now? Is it
perfect? Yeah.
On the presentation mode now? Okay, great.
Yes. Thank you.
I hope I am audible. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to talk about sea turtles and introduce you to the Arribada sites of sea turtles on this part of the world in the Indian Ocean region. So as you see on the screen, all these tiny little dots, black dots are all the nesting turtles. And this is as recent as March 2025, when the turtles came and nested at the Rushikulya Arribada site along the southern part of Odisha coast. So before I move on to the mass nesting sites in Odisha, just to let you know, except for the Australian flatback, the Kemp's Ridley, and the black sea turtle, we have the remaining 5 species of sea turtles in India. And except for loggerhead sea turtle, four species of sea turtles, that is green, leatherback, hawksbill, and olive ridleys, are known to occur along the coast of Odisha. As you know, olive ridley is the smallest amongst all the sea turtles, and happens to be the most numerous amongst all the sea turtles. And they have this peculiar habit of forming huge reproductive congregations. So during the nesting season, thousands of sea turtles congregate in coastal waters and synchronize their nesting, involving tens of thousands of individuals, take place in a very restricted stretch of beach. Restricted in the sense, when I say about 3 to 4 kilometer stretch of beach, we witness around 300,000 to 400,000 turtles nesting over a period of 5-6 nights. So this mass arrival of turtles or sea turtles, popularly known as Arribada, and happens in Costa Rica, happens in Mexico, outside Costa Rica and Mexico, and except for smaller nesting beaches of Kemp's Ridley in, say, southern Texas, and few green turtle high density nesting sites, there are only 6 mass nesting sites in the world. 3 of them are in Costa Rica and Mexico, and the remaining 3 mass nesting sites, or the Arribadas sites of sea turtles, are located along the east coast of India. If you look at here, India has a very long coastline. So we are located on this part of the country, this part of the world, or this part of India. The 480-kilometer long coastline of India happens to have 3 such mass nesting sites. The northernmost mass nesting site is very well known as Gahirmatha mass nesting site, was discovered way back in 1975. And till recently, I mean, for about, say, 30 years, Gahirmatha was known to be the world's largest known Arribada site. Arribada site till Rusiculia was discovered, and subsequently the nesting of sea turtle was closely and intensively monitored at Rusiculia. So this is located along the northern part of Orissa coast, 100 kilometers south of Gahirmatha is a nesting site near a river called Devi. So we call it Devi River Mouth, or the mass nesting Arribada site near the mouth of River Devi. So this was discovered in 1981. And after 1981, no one monitored the mass nesting of sea turtles till 1997, when I happened to come across sea turtle mass nesting in this area. But mass nesting in this area is very infrequent, and most importantly, it's infrequently monitored. And then roughly around 220 kilometers south of Devi River mouth, roughly around 320 kilometers south of Gahirmatha, is located Rusiculia. So this mass nesting site was discovered way back in March 1994. When I came across mass nesting of sea turtles in this place, mass nesting used to happen only for 2 nights, maximum for 3 nights. But this has now emerged as India's largest sea turtle nesting beach, where turtles are known to nest over 7, 8 nights, and on a very large stretch of beach, roughly around 5, 6 kilometer stretch of beach, this mass nesting goes on for about 6 to 7 nights, more than a week. Actually, mass nesting happened during the last Arribada time. So this is how we are located. Other than this, the entire coast of Odisha is used by sea turtles for sporadic nesting, and mostly olive ridleys. We have recorded green turtle nesting at Rusiculia, but very few scattered nesting of green turtles. And we have come across juveniles of hawksbill turtles along the coast of Odisha. During I worked there for about 10 years. During my decade-long work, I came across 3 or 4 leatherbacks washed ashore. We have not, there is absolutely no nesting record of leatherbacks on mainland India, and that too in the coast of Odisha. We have only Ridley's nest in great numbers, and we have very sporadic records of green turtle nesting along the coast of Odisha. So the sea turtles in Odisha, they arrive by first week of, by late October, early November, and immediately after their after mating, turtles come to nest. And as we know that they dig a flush sept cavity, deposit up to 120, 160 eggs. And the eggs takes 45 to 60 days, depending on the temperature. If turtles nest early, during December, it takes normally 60 days for the eggs to hatch. If the turtles nest later part of the season, that is around February, March, then it takes 45 days for the eggs to hatch. These hatchlings come out and they go back to sea on their own. As we know, there is absolutely no parental care involved in sea turtles. So there is olive ridleys are no exception. These hatchlings go back to the sea, and we have very little idea, or for Orissa, we don't have any idea where these hatchlings go. Where do they spend the last year till they come back to the same beach for nesting? So they cover very long distance to reach Odisha. Their breeding ground and the non-breeding area are separated by few thousand kilometers. So They undertake very long distance migration between their breeding ground in Odisha and their non-breeding ground. We had absolutely no idea till 1990s when I started tagging them in large number. So during my research between 1994 and 1999, roughly 6 years of fieldwork, I tagged around 35,000 sea turtles, which were nesting. And I not only tagged nesting turtles, I caught mating pairs. I remember catching around 1,860 mating pairs, because that's the only way you catch male turtles. Male turtles never come to the beach, unlike few green turtle males that come in Hawaii for basking. We don't have any such phenomena. Male turtles are completely restricted to their mating area in the coastal waters. So I used to go to the sea, catch those mating pairs, and tag both male and female. So I caught around 1,860 mating pairs, of which many of them were repeat. They were caught repeatedly. So roughly around 1,700 females while mating, and around 1,700 odd males I tagged them. And besides that, nearly 33,000 females I tagged on the nesting beach. And those days I was using Monel metal tags, and I was flipper tagging. So we had different tags for different nesting beaches. For Gahir Matha, we are using the code WG. W stands for wildlife. I was working as a research scholar of Wildlife Institute of India, and G stands for Gahir Matha. Each of these tags had a unique number, and our return address was written on the backside of the turtle with very small letters. So when I was tagging the turtles, I was wondering who the hell in this world will see a turtle, that too with a tag, and that too will take the pain of reading these small, minute letters and will ever write back to us. Okay. But all these notions of mine were proved wrong. So when 13th of March 1997, there is a small island near mouth of River Devi. We had named it as Robert Island. So there was a Canadian dentist called Robert Sutcliffe who used to visit Orissa those days frequently, and he was crazy about sea turtles. So remembering Robert Sutcliffe, we had named this small little island as Robert Island. So in the Robert Island on 13th of March 1997, I tagged a turtle, and 27th of April, after 44 days, hoping that the turtle has left the coast of Odisha immediately after nesting, a fisherman, I remember the name of the fisherman, his name was B.H. Jairatne from Sri Lanka. So he caught 32 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka, east coast of Sri Lanka, caught this turtle, recovered this tag from the turtle, and wrote back to us along with the tag. And when I got the tag, it was very difficult for me to believe that somebody in Sri Lanka is catching the turtle. There was no email, believe me. We got into the email era in 1999. Those days, only Hotmail and Yahoo were there. We got into Gmail came much later. So 1997, with a airmail, I got the letter from Sri Lanka. So that was the first ever long distance recovery of any turtle nesting in Orissa outside the Indian coastal waters. Then subsequently, I got 32 recoveries around Sri Lanka. So before we tagged this turtle, there was a lot of wrong notions or a lot of belief that these turtles are coming from Pacific Ocean, and they are coming all the way, migrating from Pacific to Indian Ocean, then coming to Bay of Bengal and nesting along east coast of India. But when we started tagging turtles, the picture became more and more clear. Most of the turtles are actually spending their non-breeding time in and around Sri Lanka, in the southern part of Gulf of Mannar. So then subsequently, later when I finished my tagging study in 1999, we first fixed a satellite transmitter. Subsequently, we fixed on around 40 or 50 turtles satellite transmitters. And our satellite tag turtle showed us the movement exactly the way our tag turtle had gone. Earlier I had shown a straight line distance between the Robert Island and Kalmunai in Sri Lanka, and one of our first satellite tag turtle actually ended up in the same area on the east coast of Sri Lanka. So subsequently, we have tagged large number of turtles and we have obtained similar movements. All the turtles that we have tagged have gone down to the southern part of Gulf of Mannar or northern part of Indian Ocean. None of our tag turtles have moved beyond northern part of Indian Ocean. So both the tag returns as well as satellite telemetry study clearly prove that these turtles are spending some amount of time, 3 to 4 months in coast of Odisha, and then they're migrating back to northern Indian Ocean. And the tags also gave us fantastic information about the use of Arribada sites. It's not that turtles are extremely site specific and they will use only one nesting beach. What I found that the same turtle that is tagged in a same nesting year is using more than one beach for nesting. Turtle tagged at Devi River mouth, we have recovered them at Rusikulya. Turtle tagged at Devi River mouth, we have recovered them at Gahirmatha. So there is considerable inter-rookery movement within the season as well as between the season. So this nest site fidelity that we talk about in case of sea turtle, they're definitely loyal to their nesting beach. They tend to come back to the same nesting beach, but over a geographical area. So, and within the same nesting beach also, we have seen them coming back to more or less same segment of the beach for nesting. So, the turtles nesting at Devi Mouth, they are nesting at Gahirmatha. The turtles that are nesting at Rusikulya, they are nesting at Devi Mouth, and they are also going all the way up to Gahirmatha. So, this was a very interesting finding in the sense, what we do, we have Arribada at Gahirmatha, Arribada at Devi Mouth, Arribada at Rusikulya. What do? We add up all these turtle numbers, say 300,000 turtles nesting at Gahirmatha, 50,000 turtles nesting at Devi Mouth, and 500,000 turtles are nesting at Rusikulya. So we add them up, so we say 850,000 turtles are nesting. In reality, it is not, they are not different turtles that are nesting at different nesting beaches. So our tag returns clearly show that a large percentage of turtles are using more than one beach for nesting within the same nesting season as well as between nesting seasons. And so one question that is normally asked because Orissa coast suffers very high sea turtle mortality. I will come to it during the later part of the talk. So the common question asked by the manager or by the bureaucrats or by the decision makers, we have tens of thousands of turtles. Why do we need so many of them? Okay. Or so what? 5,000 turtles die or 10,000 turtles die in a year. We have 300, 500,000 turtles nesting in Odisha. So the way I will answer this based on my experience of working on Arribada sites in Odisha, this is what the Gahirmatha Arribada site was in 1999 when I started my work. It was discovered, remember, it was discovered in 1975. When it was discovered in 1975, this sand spit was contiguous with this entire Gahirmatha coast. It was a 35 kilometer long coastline in which turtles were nesting on a 10-kilometer stretch. By the time when I started my work in 1993, okay, this sand spit on the Gahirmatha coast was separated in a cyclonic storm in 1989. 1991 was the time when I landed up in Orissa, and 1993 I started my sea turtle research. So when I started my sea turtle research, this nesting island or the Arribada site was a 3.2 kilometer long sand spit, the Gahirmatha mass nesting beach. And by the time I finished my work, this sand spit got fragmented into two small beaches. One was 1.2 kilometer long, one was 800-meter long. So first turtles were nesting in this 10-kilometer stretch of beach. Subsequently, it got fragmented to 3.2 kilometer stretch of beach. And during my course of research of 7 years, the island got further fragmented into this 1.2 kilometer and 800 meters. So effectively, there is only 2 kilometer stretch of beach available for turtles to nest at Gahirmatha. So as a result, what happens? The space available for turtles is highly restricted. So first night, second night, when turtles come to nest during the Arribada, the beach gets packed with nest. And then on third night, fourth night, subsequently emerging nesting females dig open the nests laid by the females on the previous nights. So even if 300,000, 400,000 turtles are nesting or counted to nest in Gahirmatha, effectively, not all the nests are safe at Gahirmatha because turtle themselves damage large number of nests laid by the females on previous nights. And then Gahirmatha nesting beach is a very low-lying beach. It is subjected to frequent tidal inundation. Okay. As a result, the nest temperature goes down. That's also a natural mechanism of turtles selecting more than one beach for nesting. Because I firmly believe the turtles use one nesting beach in Orissa to produce more male offsprings. They use the Rusiculia nesting beach in Odisha, which is not subjected to such frequent tidal inundation, maybe to produce more female offsprings. So this is one matter that is yet to be investigated. Although we are monitoring the beach profile, the temperature profile of the beach, but we are yet to figure out whether turtles are using more than one nesting beach in Odisha to produce more males or to produce more females. Setting aside this thing, the Gahirmatha nesting beach is a very low-lying beach subjected to frequent tidal inundation. So the frequent tidal inundation drastically affects the hatching success of the turtle eggs. And then it is also subjected to predation. Predation, I won't say predation by dogs, jackals are a major cause of concern for Arribada site, but it is subjected to lot of erosion by the sea and by the wind. And the erosion is so severe in certain years, you will see kilometers of stretches of beach lying with exposed eggs. So once these eggs are exposed, the future of the turtles are doomed inside this egg. All of these eggs have developed embryos, but once they are exposed, they are all doomed. So the mortality at the egg stage is extremely high in Odisha or in the Arribada sites in Odisha, at least in the Gahirmatha mass nesting site in Odisha. Extremely high level of egg mortality at the egg stage. Then coming on to the other problems of sea turtle conservation in Odisha, uh, we have, I mean, we people are very fish loving people. We do eat a lot of fish and we do, export a lot of fish, especially shrimps and prawns are exported from Odisha. And US is the largest market from this. When I was working, there were a lot of embargoes and a lot of concerns because of large scale mortality of sea turtles. And then the government decided to take some mitigation measures. So turtles in Odisha, they get caught in all sorts of fishing nets. We use monofilament gill nets. Monofilament gill nets are used to catch some typical fishes. We use multi-filament gill nets, which are very long, up to 3 to 4 kilometers long. They are like a wall in the sea. And of course, we have the trawl nets. Turtles get caught in all sorts of fishing nets. They get caught in monofilament nets. They get caught in multi-filament nets. They get caught in trawl nets. And sometimes this particular trawl net, I remember of recovering 38 turtles. And of the 38 turtles, there are around 20 or 22 were very active. So immediately released them back to the sea. Around 10 or 12 were in coma stage. So I kept them on my boat. 6 or 8 of them recovered. When I was working in the sea, I was in the sea to catch the mating pairs. During the course of the day, around eight of them recovered, but 2 didn't recover. So I brought them to the island where I was camping and I kept them entire night. So next day morning, when these turtles didn't recover, they were at the same, no, of the 3 turtles didn't recover. One of them went back to the sea in the night and 2 of them were lying dead on the beach. I thought they are dead because I was desperately trying to look for freshly dead sea turtles to look at their gut content. So I cut open these 2 turtles and the heart was still beating inside. Okay, so they remain in coma stage for a very long time. So that's the problem. We often, what happens, we release, even if we do not, because there is no market, there is no trade on turtle meat, there is no trade on turtle eggs. So fishermen, when the turtles are entangled in the trawl net, they catch them and then they throw them back to the sea. But we do not realize, I mean, some of them are live, some of them are in, or many of them are in comatose stage. So most of these comatose turtles, when they are thrown back to the sea, their future is doomed. So that's how mortality takes place in large numbers. And other than the turtles, the monofilament gill nets are also hugely, or gill nets are hugely responsible for death of sea turtles, because unlike other places near the mass nesting sites, there is offshore congregation of sea turtles. These are called reproductive patches. I'll come to it little later. So whenever these gill netters or these gill net operators, they enter into these turtle congregations and put the net, the turtles get caught in very large number. This particular net had 198 sea turtles, olive ridleys. 198 turtles, in the sense you imagine average weight of Ridley turtle is around 50 kg, both male and female. Males weigh around 35 to 40 kg, females anything between 55 to 60 kg. So average weight is around 50 kg. 198 turtle plus into 50 kg. So you have like 100 quintal of weight on the fishing net. And we do not have any mechanized gill netting in Odisha. These are all manual. You cast the net or you throw the net. It will take you a couple of hours to throw the net, and then you pull the net. Imagine to pull a net with 198 dead turtles. So what they do, they simply cut the net and leave it in the sea. And this becomes a death trap for other dead turtles. That's how this net had caught 198 turtles. Okay, so very large number of turtles get captured in gill nets. Uh, and all these dead turtles are washed ashore. So a major chunk of my time during my doctoral research on sea turtles went on counting these dead turtles. I was covering the entire coastline once in 10 days or once in 12 days, and I was marking each of these dead turtles with a white paint so that I do not repeat count these dead turtles during my subsequent surveys. So, and over a period of 7 years, I remember I counted 46,219 dead turtles between 1993 and 99. So the death of the turtles continues, although the extent has gone down, but I can't say anything because there is no proper monitoring of the extent of mortality along the coast of Odisha. But the fishing intensity goes on, or the fishing goes on with the same intensity or maybe more in last 20 years or 25 years. For trawl nets, all of us know that there is turtle excluder device. So we have been trying to use turtle excluder device without any success. There is strong opposition from fishermen to use turtle excluder device. There is no enforcement in the sea to use the TEDs. And fishermen always apprehend that some amount of fish catch escapes with the escape net of the turtle excluder device. Certainly, some amount of fish catch escapes, but it is not significant. We have quantified that. We have tried to convince, but I do not think it's a practical approach to enforce use of turtle excluder device. Whenever the enforcement agencies go to the sea, enforcement agency in the sense Indian Coast Guard, they go to the sea, they ask the fishermen or the trawl fishers, are you using TED? All of them will keep a TED on the boat and they will say, yes, we are using the TED. So they are also happy they are using the TED. But TED is not supposed to be kept on the boat. It is supposed to be fixed on the net. So that's what, I mean, as of today, I doubt whether any trawler in India is operating with the turtle excluded device, certainly not in Odisha. So it's a major concern. But say even if we enforce the use of TED, the law is there, even if we do strict enforcement, and let's say trawl fishers start using the TED, what are you going to do for gill nets? There is absolutely no solution to prevent entanglement of sea turtles in gill nets off the mass nesting sites in Odisha. So the solution is turtles are not randomly distributed at the Arribadas sites in Odisha. Okay, rather they form reproductive congregations. What I found during my doctoral research is these reproductive congregations, these dots that you see, these are the location of turtle mating pairs. And this is, I have just drawn a minimum convex polygon. Subsequently, few researchers have gone to the sea and tried to map the extent of this turtle congregation. This remains more or less same what I found out in 1997, 98, and 99. Turtles are congregating in an area of, say, 55 to 70 square kilometer area. Okay, and they are not congregating far away from the coast. All these congregations are within 3 to 4 kilometers from the coastline. So, and these reproductive congregations are not static in nature. They are dynamic, but they are not so dynamic that they will move off hundreds of kilometers. They, if they are located here during the first half of November, in the second half of November, they will shift just 4 or 5 kilometers northwards. And as the nesting season approaches, this is the mass nesting site at Gairmata, this entire congregation turtles will come and congregate in front of this, in front of 35-40 square kilometer of coastal waters. So what we need to do to prevent this large scale mortality in Odisha is to map these reproductive congregations, understand these dynamics of these reproductive congregations, how frequently they are moving, what is the extent of their movement of these reproductive congregations, and very jealously protect these reproductive congregations. Do not allow any trawl fishermen, any gill netters to operate, any boat with gill nets to operate in this area. Effectively, we have declared Gahirmatha as a marine sanctuary, say 750 square kilometer of marine sanctuary, and we have 1 or 2 boats to patrol in this area. There is no need to patrol over the large area. I mean, you have a marine sanctuary, but this is like the sanctum sanctorum of your marine sanctuary, of your turtle congregation. So anchor your patrolling boats here, dissuade fishermen from entering into these turtle congregations and fishing in these areas. So this is what is the need of the hour in front of all the 3 mass nesting beaches in Orissa. If we jealously protect the offshore congregations of the Arribada sites in Odisha, then we can minimize the turtle mortality or mortal entanglement in fishing nets to a great extent. Then the other problem along the coast is plantation of exotic species, and we plant only one variety of exotic species, that is the Australian screw pine. Or Casuarina. Casuarina equisetifolia has been planted extensively along the coast of Odisha. And for right reasons, they have planted them. Right reasons in the sense, they say that Casuarina act as a shelter belt to cyclonic storm. Coast of Odisha is subjected to severe cyclone. I mean, cyclone hit coast of Odisha almost every year, or at least once in 2 years. The cyclone hits. So there is definitely a need for having coastal shelter belt. But based on my experience, Casuarina has not acted as a cyclonic shelter or has acted as a shelter from cyclone, or has sheltered the people of Odisha from the cyclonic storm in most parts. So this is what happens. You create a barrier on the nesting beach, then you plant the trees. Turtles prefer to nest in open sandbars. They do not like the beaches to be planted with Casuarina. This photograph that you see, this is the mass nesting site at Devi River mouth. They need open sandbars for nesting near the river mouths. But once you plant Casuarina, the beach is completely rendered unsuitable for turtles to nest. And this picture, this was once an intense Casuarina plantation site. This is after the cyclonic storm, super cyclone that hit the coast of Odisha in 1999 October. After that, the Casuarina, absolutely no Casuarina survived, neither it protected the people. Rather, the natural mangrove forest came to the rescue of people. So, but Casuarina plantation has got other purpose, like people, coastal people do depend on their fuel wood requirement and other things. But planting Casuarina on turtle nesting beaches should be strictly avoided. There should not be any plantation near the mass nesting sites of sea turtles. When we are talking about mass nesting sites of sea turtle, Odisha has got a coastline of 480 kilometers. Gahirmatha mass nesting site is only 3 kilometers. Rusikulya mass nesting site is around 7 to 8 kilometers, and Devi River mouth is around 2 to 3 kilometers. So of the 480-kilometer stretch of coast of Odisha, we are talking about 13 to 14 kilometer stretch of mass nesting site that should be made free. There should not be any tampering of those nesting sites by planting Casuarina. So, and the the emerging problem that has happened, I will just tell you a story. When I started my work in Gahirmatha, there was absolutely no light. I used to use one hurricane lamp, put it on a long bamboo pole on my island to navigate in these areas. Today you go, there is a major port near Gahirmatha and that has got massive illumination. Although people say that we are using a lot of turtle friendly lightings, in reality, all the turtles get disoriented. So Gahirmatha, the port came up, and unfortunately, urbanization has come up in a big way. This is the background of the Rusiculia mass nesting beach. The first slide that I showed you, the beach dotted with nesting turtles. On a dark night, if you go and stand on that beach, the horizon on the landward side will look very bright. And a brighter horizon spells doom for sea turtles. All the turtle hatchlings, the females get disoriented, but more than the females, the turtle hatchlings, especially at Rusiculia, get disoriented and they move on the wrong direction. Instead of moving towards the sea, they move towards the land, and all these turtles, immediately after the beach, there is a stretch of grassland, and all of them remain entangled in this grassland all through the night. All of us know that a turtle hatchling, the moment it comes out of its nest, it has to rush back to the sea and it has to cover as much distance as possible from the shoreline, because a lot of predators congregate in the near shore waters and they feast on turtle hatchlings. So to get rid of these predators, these hatchlings have to move as far away as possible. And for initial 48 hours or initial 56 hours of their life, these turtle hatchlings do not feed on anything. They derive all their energy from the unabsorbed yolk, which is attached to their belly. And they get into a swimming frenzy. So their objective is to cover as much distance as possible away from the nesting beach. Here, what happens? The turtle hatchlings remain entangled in the grassland all through the night, and they struggle in the grassland behind the nesting beach all through the night because they get disoriented in the presence of the bright horizon on the landward side. And there are a lot of good human beings who actually come forward, capture these hatchlings, rescue them, and release them back to the sea. And we feel very good that we are capturing and rescuing them and releasing them back into the sea. But we don't realize that these hatchlings have, struggled the entire night in the grassland and they are drained of energy. Okay, they whatever energy they would have spent in swimming in the sea, they have spent that energy in struggling on the land. So God knows how many of these rescued hatchlings that are sent back to the sea survive. So the mortality at the egg stage I have shown you in Gahirmatha is extremely high. Mortality at the hatchling stage at Rusiculia is also very, very high. Okay, so these are the two massive problems: the natural erosion of the beach, plantation of casuarina, entanglement in fishing nets, and now this misorientation of hatchlings, and their entanglement in the grasslands behind the nesting beach, the struggle that they do, and we do not know how many of them, make it to adulthood or make uh, their way away from the predators that congregate in the near shore waters. Nevertheless, Odisha still continues to be a very, very turtle friendly, or the Arribadas sites continue to be very, very turtle friendly nesting beaches, where turtles literally come to the fisherman's hut and nest there. There is absolutely no trade of turtle meat, no trade of turtle egg. That way, it's an absolutely safe place for turtles. But the coastal development, the illumination due to coastal development, and in some places, this armoring of the beach. We have a lot of sensitive infrastructures coming up along the coast, especially at Gahirmatha coast. We have a missile test range and we have to protect that missile test range right besides the Gahirmatha coast. What happened to be a mass nesting beach earlier has now been armored with these tetrapods or these concrete structures. So the access to the beach has been highly restricted. So we have very little stretch available for the turtles. Natural calamities are very high, but fortunately, Beaches like Rusikulya have emerged as a major mass nesting site, and I firmly believe a lot of turtles from Gahimata have shifted and are nesting in large numbers at Rusikulya right now. Rusikulya still is producing a lot of turtle hatchlings, but the urbanization behind Rusikulya mass nesting site is a cause of concern. So despite all odds, for I started my sea turtle research in 1993, and since 1993 till 2025, how many years? It's around 32 years. We still have huge number of turtles coming and nesting in turtles. I I presume the future generations continue to see the turtles in Arribada sites in Odisha the way I have witnessed, and turtles continue to nest despite all these odds, and whatever odds are there are addressed in an effective manner in Odisha. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. It was so interesting to get to learn all of this. Actually, it's quite eye-opening because we're not so privy to a lot of what you've shared today. If anyone has questions, please feel free either to unmute yourselves or you can put your hand up so I can know which one would like to talk, or to put it on the chat. Feel free as well, by the way. But in the meantime, I was just wondering, do we know any of the ecological factors of why that determine basically that within the whole of Odisha, like those three places are particularly important for these arribadas? Like what does differentiate these areas from the rest of the coast? Like, have we been able to find out why they prefer?
Well, all these three nesting sites are located near river mouths, and there are
Okay.
big estuaries there. And maximum fishing takes place near river mouths. So I presume the productivity is very, very high compared to other
Very
areas of the
interesting.
coast. So, and hundreds and thousands of turtles coming and spending 4 5 months near these nesting beaches, they are not going hungry. They are eating. Uh, so availability of food is a major factor why turtles are congregating in these areas. And if you look at the fisheries intensity of fishing, these are the areas where fishermen target go and fish in these areas. So availability of nesting beaches, availability of huge quantity of food or a very productive estuarine habitat is largely responsible for turtles to come and nest here.
Oh, but yeah, well,
Uh,
that makes
It,
complete sense. I was wondering
it is,
actually when you had opened their GI
yeah.
tract if you had seen those same um the kind of that proof that they've indeed had been feeding on. Oh, you can finish. Sorry. If you want, do you want to stop sharing, or you want to share something else?
Anyway, carry on, no
No,
problem.
no, no, no. You
Carry on.
can.
No,
I
carry on.
had.
I'll leave a message. Okay. Sorry, this communication age,
No, don't
expect
worry. Um,
expected like,
yeah, we have. I don't know if you can see the chat yourself. On the side,
yeah.
if you click, but basically, Dr. Gito Pietrolongo is saying that thanks, Bivash, very interesting presentations, and congratulations on your extraordinary work. Um, Dr. Mark, also from Nigeria, he's also saying, great talk today. It's really interesting. I was wondering, from all the threats that we've discussed today, from fishing practices, the coastal development, the light pollution, um, even the changes now in the landscape, do you think any one of them takes the cake, like it's the most urgent one to address, or actually it's the combination of them all that's been doing all of these changes of their success?
I think the coastal development, rational planning of coastal development near the mass nesting sites is the need of the hour. The mass nesting sites need to be declared as ecological sensitive zones. In India, we have different kind of protected area status. Not necessarily they need to be declared as protected area, because once you declare them as a protected area, you take away rights of the local people from there. Turtles come and nest there only for 2 months. It will be unfair for the local people to restrict them use those areas which are used by turtles. So instead of that, all these areas need to be declared as ecological sensitive zone. So here there are two things. In India, protected areas are declared as part of Indian Wildlife Protection Act, which was enacted in 1972. But we have another act called Environmental Protection Act, which has a special provision for declaring any area as a ecological sensitive area. When we declare an area as ecological sensitive area, we have to categorize the activities that has to be restricted, that has to be restricted, permitted, and encouraged. Okay. So if we declare these nesting beaches as ecological sensitive area, we can restrict lot of urban development, especially coastal illumination in these areas. So we need a proper urban planning near these mass nesting sites. When I say urban planning, it's not 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, because these are very open areas. Even if you have a establishment some 5 kilometers away from the nesting beach, the glow is visible on the sky. So that's why a very good urban planning is required, because these are like World Heritage sites, these mass nesting sites. We
But
don't
what is
have.
missing for them from all the research that's already out there, all the proof? What is missing for them to actually declare that has an ecological important point?
Well, we keep seeing the things, we do not observe things. Okay. We keep reading the things, we never study the things. So that's what is missing. We are not serious about it. We are very happy that hundreds of thousands of turtles are coming and nesting. We are not worried about the effects that's going to happen. And we are not worried about 20 years, 30 years, or 40 years down the line, the Arribada sites are going to collapse. Okay. And we also need very rigorous scientific monitoring on these Arribada sites. What is the hatching success? Basic monitoring. What is the hatching success? How many eggs are hatching? How many eggs are surviving? How many hatchlings are coming out? Okay. How much of beach is getting damaged? How many hatchlings are getting disoriented? So all this basic monitoring is required. A very systematic monitoring has to be done. I think
And there's
there
no
is
governmental aid for that kind of scientific research. Is it all NGO
no.
produced
No,
or?
I don't think government is sensitive. Government is not, it will be unfair to say that government is insensitive. Government is sensitive, government is cooperative, there is aid available, but people need to come forward and commit themselves to this kind of work, or this has to be brought in the standard management plan, how to manage a turtle nesting beach. As part of that, your research component, you need to list down these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that has to be monitored very rigorously.
Okay. I was wondering if also with the changes since you've been there for a while now, or you've seen that region for a while, have you seen how, because you didn't mention about the wind, about the cyclones, etc. Have you seen anything has from climate change over these years that, what has from sea level rise, temperature shifts, like what has been have you seen that altered nesting and hatching success or even their behavior changing with the changing in their landscape?
Climate change has completely altered the geomorphology of turtle nesting beach. It's eating away turtle nesting beaches. It has drastically reduced the space of turtle nesting beaches. Not only turtle nesting beaches, it is eating up coastal villages. People are getting, there are a lot of climate change induced displacement of human settlements in Odisha, very close to Rushikulya. At least 2 or 3 villages, they have emptied their settlements along the nesting beach. In fact, the last but one slide that I showed, where turtle coming and nesting near the house, all those things are gone, eaten up by the sea. It's happening very rapidly. Climate change is a reality, and it is eating up the nesting beaches, or the beaches. Simply say the beaches are being eaten away by rising sea level.
Okay, wow, that is a bit of a gloomy future aside from everything else that they're facing on top having that to also manage.
Yeah, see, when I say that earlier extensive stretch of sand beaches were available, now very restricted stretch. What used to be 200, 300 meter stretch of beach, now only 40 meter, 50 meter stretch of beach is available. So I don't know what effect. Honestly, that's a matter that need to be investigated,
Definitely,
and we
there's
need
so much to research in that region, it
yeah, we
seems.
more than research. We need very long-term monitoring of very basic
Hmm.
things about sea turtles.
Okay. Actually, talking to one of your countrymates, Dr. Suranjana, she's I don't know if you can see on the chat, but basically she's thanking you for the lovely chat. She's a chief vet at Reef Watch Marine. She's the one I was talking to you about being on the other side in the Goa region. And she would say, we would love to support you treat the sea turtles, what you find injured or stranded in your region. Feel free to contact us. And she's leaving the contact number if you ever need, or if you know who else is on that region that might need that assistance from her. So if you want, I can always send you also this link, and I might even connect you after if you need. But this is why we were discussing about the training, and you might unmute yourself if you want to talk as well, by the way. Dr. Chiranjana, I don't know if you can
Yeah,
talk.
hi.
Hi.
I was just saying, hi, sorry. I was just saying, lovely chat, Bivash. I really enjoyed that. I was just wondering, when you were saying that you're getting so many turtles entangled and you're finding them in trawling nets. And we see so many of those injuries because we are currently running the entire veterinary marine stranding wing for Goa and Karnataka governments. So we do handle a lot of these sea turtles, a lot of stranded sea turtles. So if you guys do get these turtles, we've just recently started a telemedicine program to kind of help coastal states, give out primary medical care or, support them with medical treatment of any marine megafauna. So I've just given you the number, and feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you, obviously free of cost, however we can support you and these animals.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Look forward to working together for sure.
The things that come about on the webinar. Does anyone else have any questions that you'd like to pose before we finish our webinar session today? This will still be saved on YouTube, so you can always revisit later. Thankfully, it was so kind to let us record the whole meeting and allow other people to see this. Definitely very important to discuss and to try to get together and decide what next steps can be done to protect that region. Because it definitely gets a great impact, not only what you're seeing in the region in India, but we, for example, while I was working in the Maldives, we were getting a lot of these animals from that same region that are just getting then the ones that get stuck on those nets, the nets travel across the Indian Ocean and they go into other countries. So not only are the problem happening regionally in India, but that problem is then traveling across the Indian Ocean region because they get stuck on those nets that are not retrieved from the ocean. So definitely is a multi-country problem that would be so good to get heads around and try to see how else can we help each other out for the sake of these animals. But for today, I think that'll be all. We don't have any more questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to share?
No, I mean,
any message for the future generation?
Future, I mean, I would say that we need to monitor the nesting beaches very rigorously and very religiously. Help the government, convince the government that just because large number of turtles are still nesting in Odisha, all is not well.
For sure. Thank you so much for being so kind to join us and share all of this with us today. And we will be talking to you very soon and putting you in contact as well with the contact number that Dr. Surjana left us here. And to everyone else, please do meet us again next month. We're going to have our next talk. This time we're going to hatchlings. We're going to go all the way to South Africa and discuss about washback hatchlings after events of extreme weather, which again might also be increasing with climate change. We'll have that discussion with Dr. Berenice, and that will join us on Zoom. We'll be sending all the information to you across in the coming weeks. But thank you so much for being our restarter today, Dr. Bivash, and I hope you all have a wonderful day ahead.
It was my pleasure talking to all of you.
Thank you. And yes, Mark, for your question on the chat, is it monthly? Yes, the idea is to have a monthly talk regarding this kind of medical series. And we also have a monthly discussion about our affiliated partners to introduce ourselves to each other, our rescue centers to each other. And I'll be sending emails to all of you, as well as on our social media. So thank you so much. Thank you, Hamed. Thank you, Guido. Thank you, Dr.
Superb.
Bivash.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Bye. Have a good evening. Morning,
Bye.
afternoon, depending on where you are.
Afternoon in Nigeria.